With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. You know, I make no apologies for my feelings on Alex Jones. The dude is entertaining, but ultimately a blight on society. And that has been proven twice over in 2017, where he had to apologize twice in the span of 2 months for comments that he made on the show. Inaccuracies and fables that he made up that were met with a legal response that forced him to, to come out and say that he apologized. And then, of course, his wife divorcing him and it coming out that he's a performance artist really damaged Alex's credibility. So it's one of the reasons why he likes to push harder and crazier. But that can backfire, as we're finding out right now, by fired InfoWars staffers at war with Alex Jones, one claiming he was teased as the site's resident Jew, while an African-American worker says she was mocked for her skin tone and Jones grabbed her from behind. Now, again, these are all allegations, no idea if whether or not they are true, and we'll have to wait till these things go through a court of law in order to be able to, get the full story, I think. But in the meantime, let's see what the Daily Mail is reporting. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has discriminated against his staff, laughed along with racist and anti-Semitic slurs against former employees, and even groped one female worker, bombshell documents allege. The controversial InfoWars owner joked with staff who called Rob Jacobson the Jewish individual, the resident Jew, and shouted Jacobson across the office, it claimed. Jones allegedly continued bullying, ridiculed, and humiliated Jacobson, who worked for Jones's company InfoWars for 13 years before firing him last May. Man, that's a long time to get really crapped on by your boss. But I understand it. I get it. Steady work in this day and age. Maybe he thought he was just being playful. It kind of builds up over time. And if he would have maybe looked or said anything kind of funny at it, they probably would have gaslit him a little bit, saying like, nah, it's, it is what it is. But 13 years is a long time to get called the resident Jew. Feels like something you'd find in a Tarantino movie. Now, Jacobson is in the process of suing Jones for discrimination, harassment, and unfair dismissal, and his lawyers have submitted a complaint to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A second former employee has claimed she suffered harassment and discrimination at the hands of Jones and other senior managers at InfoWars based on her race. Now, everything I've seen of Jones has definitely made the dude seem crazy, but racist is never something that I've picked up on, right? Like, he talks about Islam a bit, but I never looked at it like it was super racist. It was more like that was like the hot topic of the day. And that was, a talking point. I know a lot of people who have rallied on against, Islam constantly for years, when ultimately they don't give a crap one way or the other, but they know that it's a solid talking point that will get, attention, i.e. clicks and views. So it says here is that, and this is Jacobson right here. And this is the former production assistant, Ashley Beckford, who says she joined Free Speech System InfoWars' parent company in June 2016, and the discrimination began almost immediately. According to an EEOC complaint she too was filed, saying, "I was subjected to different terms and conditions of employment in comparison to my non-black African-American peers when it came to my salary/wages and benefits for travel and in regards to my dress, including my hairstyle. I was also subjected to racial slurs by respondents' management and some peer colleagues, as well as subjected to sexual harassment in a hostile, sexually offensive work environment," which is horrible, and no one should ever go through that at work, if this is to be true. So let's just make that clear. In a series of allegations, Beckford, who is African-American, I'm sorry, I just have to kind of stop that and say, like, here's her photo, and then they go, she is African-American. Like, yes, we got that. Thank you. She says that up here, 2 paragraphs above. It's implied. That, or you could just say, unless she's Rachel Dolezal and therefore transracial. In a series of allegations, Beckford, who is African-American, says she was mocked for her skin tone and called a coon by senior manager and denied promotions to match the salary of other coworkers, according to the complaint documents. Now, seeing as right now we're in the middle of the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, it does feel like a pretty standard time for this kind of lawsuit to come out, or civil suit to come out. She also accuses Jones and several of the supervisors and colleagues of commonly leering at women in the office and making sexual gestures and advances. According to the filing, she claims Jones groped her butt after initiating a side hug while pretending to feel sympathy over an incident Beckford was involved in. Okay, was it like? Well, I mean, I guess grope, is it like a is it like a graze? Because grazes can happen. You know, Jones is like, he's a bodybuilder type guy. He's got a large wingspan. Come on in. Graze can happen. Or was it a full on, cheek grab? The devil is in the details, to be honest. Now, the complaint states simultaneously, while he was commenting to those in the room, who wouldn't want to have a black wife? I don't know if that's a Jones. I don't know if that sounds like Jones or not. I've never met the guy. You'd have to probably ask like Mike Cernovich, Paul Joseph Watson, or Milo Yiannopoulos if this is something Jones would say. She added, I felt embarrassed and nervous, but I knew that he had specifically touched my behind at that moment as a sly come on that other people may not notice. Okay, that I understand. My question, though, is when did this take place? Because was it during his divorce with his wife? That would be a factor, I think. Now, it does. Here's some of the stuff here. I'm not going to go through all that because it is what it is. Now, according to the EEOC complaint, Beckford also alleges that Jones tried to groom her for sexual exploitation. She claims he made sexual advances towards her and made comments about her having a good body that looked like I worked out a lot. Now, Jones is a former bodybuilder, so that could be interpreted, and again, I'm just being as objective as I can here, that could be interpreted as being like oh, hey, bodybuilder to person, you look like you work out. This is kind of how I'm viewing it. But at the same time, come on. You don't sit there and tell a woman you work with that her body looks good, she must work out. It sounds like a crappy pickup line, even if you don't intend it to be one. She says here that it's, in my opinion, that it was his intention to see if he could groom me for sexual exploitation. She added, Alex often spent his time shirtless and endlessly leering with or without a shirt at female guests and employees while creating a disgusting, hostile environment. Now, that actually does sound pretty accurate. How many times has Jones ripped his shirt off? How many times is he like showing off, the former muscles, the former guns? They might have rusted with age, but they can still get down. And then, the way that he creates his environment in terms of how he presents himself on stage. If he is in fact a performance artist, one could liken it perhaps to, like, let's say Jared Leto for the Joker in Suicide Squad, or even Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Both men were reported to be in character the entire time. And if you are a performance artist when you're trying to get into this sort of thing, ultimately you're going to want to get into the headspace. Now, Jones is very animated. He likes to growl, talk about how he eats meat and has sex with armoires and stuff, right? He likes to be like that. So as a result, that kind of allows him the ability ultimately to like kind of get into character. And that could be where she's referring to. That's just, again, my take on it. Now, she also claims that she was intimidated by the constant display of guns in the InfoWars office in Austin, Texas, which created an extremely hostile work environment, and alleges she was reprimanded if she ever questioned the actions of President Donald Trump. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. And so I'm assuming, okay, here's the thing. Okay. So I don't know if that would be the case. There is the footage of Jones from election night where he's like drinking, wine. He personally believes that he was one of the key reasons that got Donald Trump elected. So there are those factors as well. And if she did criticize Trump, and here's the thing, they're in Austin, Texas. All right. It's like the only blueberry in a bowl of tomato soup, right? It's the only Democrat like city. It's the state capital, but that's where they're at. So she could be a Democrat or a liberal working for InfoWars, which is one of those things where you're just like, did you not know what you were getting yourself into when this happened? I'm not blaming the victim here, but I'm also trying to point out, like, this is freaking InfoWars. This is not uncommon. We know about them. Everyone knows about InfoWars. So there's that. Now, it says she was fired in April 2016 or 2017 due to excessive write-ups. Now, okay. This was also during the same time, by the way, where Jones had to apologize to James Alefantis for the Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria shoot-up that happened, or all, well, the Pizzagate scandal, not the shoot-up, but the Pizzagate scandal, which in part Edgar Welch accused or had named InfoWars as being one of the reasons why he walked into a pizzeria with a gun looking for a child underground sex dungeon. And then also during that month, I think, or maybe the month after, Jones had to apologize to Chobani Yogurt, to the guy who runs that company, for trying to insinuate that they only hire refugees that like to rape people. And so that was also during the time where his wife was in fact filing for divorce, and that information came out, which means they've probably been separated for a while, and maybe that was one of the things that just happened to kind of occur. Looking at the timeline of events around that same time, one could argue that what Beckford is saying here probably holds more weight due to, well, Alex Jones's stress levels and just his own personal life collapsing. He became the bunt of many late night comedian jokes, and a lot of people on the internet mocked him heavily during the custody battle for his son, and so that could be a factor. Now, both Beckford and Jacobson are now being represented by lawyer Ben Meiselas, a civil rights leader at law firm Jaragos and Jaragos. I probably mispronounced that. In Jacob's EEOC complaint, he says, "I'm Jewish and my employer used racial slurs against me, calling me the resident Jew, the Jewish individual, and Jakobson. My workplace was a syndicated radio show, so the slurs were made publicly on air. My employer also inserted my face onto the photo of a Hasidic Jewish man and circulated that picture around the office." Jeez. Now, if it was slurred on air, said on air, then there would be copies of that. And if they circulated the picture around the office, I'm sure he might have a copy of that. So that is definitely something. And again, here's all of his write-ups and stuff too. So here you go. InfoWars responds to the allegations. Here's what they have to say. Alex Jones described the allegations as having no reflection of reality and completely, totally false. If Alex Jones said something doesn't have the reflections of reality, then it probably is more realistic than not. He told DailyMail.com, "I'm not going to talk about former employees. I mean, nobody accuses me of stuff like that. No, and in fact, I'm not the type of person to say those kind of things. So that's why my feelings are hurt. Wow, that's all I can say. That's total bullshit." Jones denied being racist and anti-Semitic, saying his ex-wife Kelly Nichols was half Jewish. That's like saying you walk around dropping the N-bomb, but it's cool. You know, your boy Kevin is mulatto or something. It's like, that's not gonna like really fly as much as you want it to. He said, "It's absolutely ridiculous. A classic. I'm going to continue and take the high road. I'm shocked that Rob would do something like this. Must be in a bad way out there. So sorry for him." Jones did concede that there was an incident involving the interview with David Duke, in which Duke called Jacobson the Jewish individual, but said he's never heard stuff like that being repeated around the office. Okay, so that's what they're referring to when, you know, Jones is giving David Duke a platform, and David Duke looks at a guy who works there is like, "Oh, you're the Jewish individual." Yeah, because that's not going to make things awkward, right? Not at all. Jones says that it's sad that people were trying to score points or somehow become relevant by making outrageous allegations. Jones trying to sit there and call anyone else out for making outrageous allegations. Pot meat freaking kettle, man. He says, "It's a sad thing. I mean, I have zero concern about it except for Rob because it's so outrageous." Jones says he was nothing but nice to Jacobson, adding that he wishes him well in his new career as a fiction writer in Hollywood. He says, "I just wish Rob well, and I hope he has a great life, and I just hope that he's successful in everything he does. I wish him well with his fiction career. I'm going to take the high road. I'm not giving up on Rob, and I'm not giving up on humanity." In relation to Beckford's allegations, he says there was never any complaints filed or anything done to HR or said here. Come on, man. It's total fiction. He added, "It's 100% false, not true," before threatening legal action. And then, wow, it goes on for a while here. It says Jones's father, Dr. David Jones, who is the company's head of human resources, also weighed in. Oh, his father's involved. Well, that's not nepotistic, right? He admitted to Daily Mail that the InfoWars office environment can often be like a locker room. Oh, so we're back on the Access Hollywood bus now. Okay. Which, again, look, here's the thing is oftentimes workplaces can be like that. So I'm not trying to say that it didn't happen. I'm just saying that, you know, whatever. He also confirmed that Jacobson had made complaints to HR about certain issues, but insists that none of the complaints were serious about anti-Semitism or racism. His complaints were generally way after anything presumably occurred. In one incident, he recalled, he was concerning a video that Jacobson had said had been put on screen by a fellow worker. We researched it and found it was something accidental and incidental, he said. Somebody had teased him about something on his desktop. When asked about the beefcake incident, Jones Sr. believed that had something to do with the video incident. That might have been the case of 30 seconds of somebody giving him some crap. I can see that. It's like a damn locker room. When dealing with creative people, sometimes there's a little bit of play-by-play or a little bit of byplay. And I would say Rob dished out more than he received. Anytime somebody would make a complaint, we would take it with all seriousness. But you're saying that this guy, like, you know, that he's not the victim and these kind of things, that, oh, he went out there and he bullied people too, but he's the only one that ran and complained to us about it. That's basically what they're trying to insinuate. There is nothing that stood out with Rob, and we have zero tolerance on ethnic discrimination, gender discrimination, and discrimination on the basis of people's preferences. We're libertarian. We believe in people being what they are and what they want to be. Yeah, I don't think anyone buys that about InfoWars being libertarian. You know, when you sit there and you say, oh, the former president is a demon, a literal demon coming to get you, you're more like lemonparty.org than libertarian, if you know what I mean. Now, Jones Sr. said the company is made up of equal opportunity offenders, adding, we're a very yeasty environment. We give everybody crap. I'm just being brutally honest here. I do love the brutal, honest response as a defense, right? Like it does make, I do actually like it because I feel like a lot of places are like that, and people just don't want them to be. Now, Eric Taub, the lawyer for Free Speech Systems, said the allegation, he added that the company had hired consultants to help improve sensitivity training and other issues prior to Jacobson's departure in 2017. I would love to see a bill of sale or a receipt on sensitivity training at InfoWars. I just don't believe that one bit. I'm sorry. Now, the lawyer for Free Speech Systems said the allegations from Jacobson and Beckford will be investigated. He said the time frame of the allegations, given they happened a long time ago, is mysterious. It's like a year. That's not like, I mean, yeah, that's not like yesterday, but it's also not like 5 years ago. And apparently Jacobson has been making complaints to HR for a long time. He worked there for 13 years and they're just trying to brush it away. Now he says, obviously, he says, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Taub described the claims as unfounded based upon what he knows. He added, obviously Free Speech Systems and InfoWars take these things very seriously and will fully investigate all of those allegations, but they don't make sense to me for a lot of different reasons. So whether or not Alex Jones is guilty here, it does kind of give you an idea about what life is like at InfoWars. You know, and right now you've got Milo Yiannopoulos popping up on there selling his soy supplements. You got Paul Joseph Watson, who says that soy makes you effeminate, also selling soy supplements. Mike Cernovich popping up there and upstaging Alex Jones a little bit, much to an awkward audience. It brings in a lot of very kind of volatile, high tempo people. And that could in fact lead to a particular environment. And from what his father was saying, is that they do have that kind of lively environment, but it's one that's expected to be just, accepted. And people out there like Beckford and Jacobson apparently didn't like it. So I don't know whether or not their claims will hold any merit in a court. I don't know if they'll be able to actually find out what they want or get what they want. But it's interesting to kind of have this put out there because it does give us an idea as to how InfoWars is run. And it's not very pretty. And just as a side note right now, Alex Jones is one strike away on YouTube from getting his channel taken down. That's over 3 million subscribers, and I want to say a couple billion views. So that would very much damage his organization, his operation, if that were to happen. And so, given everything that happened to Jones last year with his ex-wife and having to apologize for the zany lies that he made up on air, things aren't really looking like they're going to be good for him right now. And yeah, I can't say I feel bad for him at all.